to Melissa's Grey Studio, the Sunday edition. Today I thought instead of showing my screen, I would actually just show my face and do a little bit of a digest of the week and talk about plans for next week. I am actually experimenting today. I'm using some new software called Open Broadcaster software, and it's so much better. I have to shamefully admit that I was using snipping tool for my videos and it's not great quality at all. And as you can see, I've got my Yeti microphone. I've had that for a while. So yeah, things are improving bit by bit on my YouTube channel. So that is really exciting. So I thought I'd start by talking about the week. So I am currently working on a project and we're coming towards the end of the project, and you know what it's like, everything is super busy, we're trying to get things over the line. But one of my big successes has been the strategy from the start to test as we go. So I have tested everything to date. We've had daily builds, I've tested it, given feedback, we've amended stuff. So it's got us in a really good position. We are up against it a little bit. There's a little bit more to do in terms of building and testing. So yeah, I'm really excited for next week. I'm working with a great bunch of people. And I feel what I've learned the most from this contract is that I absolutely love individual contributor work. I enjoy, being thrown into a team, getting to know people, the project, and really getting involved from a technical aspect. So yeah, it's really great learning really, and I feel like I haven't really been honest with myself about that, as I have been looking for a permanent role that's sort of a management position, and I don't think that gives me joy anymore. And I, of course, have helped a lot of people being a people manager and set the direction for things, but I'm actually more interested in testing architect, getting involved in the technical detail. I just find that a bit more exciting. So yeah, it's really interesting learning about sort of the direction that I want to take my career in. And I think initially I have been, a bit resistant to that idea because it felt like going from a people manager to an individual contributor role was kind of step down in some way, but I've kind of changed my mindset. It's not a step down at all. It's just moving my career, my direction, my interests into what I really want to be doing. So yeah, it was just really great. So yeah, next week we're continuing with that. So I'm really excited. I'm working with a really great team, really interesting project. So yeah, really looking forward to that next week. One of the big things I did this week is I drove up to Nottingham and I went to a Testing Peers conference. I'll put a link in the description below so you can go and check out the people who spoke, go and see their content and things like that. I absolutely love the testing community. They're so welcoming. I stayed over the night before and then I went down for breakfast. I saw a couple of people in the testing community and they're really welcoming, saying hello. And, I had a breakfast with lots of people in the community. So, yeah, it's just really lovely atmosphere. And, there's two things that I wanted to mention that I thought my real takeaways is one of them is I went to Dan Billings' workshop on Playwright and MCP, and I thought the way that Dan did the workshop was brilliant in terms of, first of all, we actually understood the product before even writing any test automation. So he kind of gave us an exercise for 15-20 minutes to go and understand the product, explore it, how would we test it, that kind of thing. And then afterwards we went into kind of the Playwright MCP stuff. And what was really interesting is when it generated the plans or the text, it was quite vanilla and it really didn't cover everything that should have been covered. So that was a really interesting learning, that we have to be, learn the product first and then use AI and then, go from there. But it kind of felt to me that we are, what would be quicker, like doing it just as a human would or doing it with human and AI and having to amend stuff. So yeah, I'm really torn with that aspect. Maybe it'll get better as we go forward. But yeah, that was a really great workshop, and also one of all the talks are absolutely brilliant, but the one that stood out for me the most was Philippa Jennings, and they kind of talked their story of their career, and they first told the story of imagining a gate next to you can imagine that gate in whatever manner you can. So I got a bit distracted because one of my family members came in. But yeah, imagine a gate next to you, and you'd be like, yes, that can go out, no, that can't. And it really talked through Philippa's journey of, that gate and kind of dissolving it a little bit over time. And the way that they did that was paired with developers a bit earlier. Um, my personal view is that that gate is always going to be there in some manner. You need to have people that are, looking out for problems and kind of, looking for problems and understanding whether a problem exists and we need to fix that, or whether no problems are there that we have imagined or looked into, and it can go out the door. So yeah, it's kind of a difficult one that I found for me in terms of completely dissolving that gate. But I guess it depends on your context and that type of thing. I do understand it because, like, the current project that I'm working on, I was doing some testing, and I kind of felt like I was looking at this stuff so much, it kind of all blurred into one. So I asked the interaction designer to have a look at some of these flows, and he did notice something that I missed. So I think it's really important to understand your flaws and limitations and get other people involved in the testing. So yeah, that was brilliant. But of course, there's so many amazing talks, and do go and check out the lineup and who spoke, and you can go and check out their content. I think the majority of people are on LinkedIn and things like that. But really high quality talks. Lunch was amazing. We got this amazing like box of lunch with so many different things. It was so tasty. I definitely was. After I drove home, I was definitely tired. It was about 3-4 hours each way driving there, but I did stay overnight. But I think going to a conference is just the first start of something, and then it really generates new ideas, creating new content. And for me, and I thought a lot. There wasn't a lot of talk about AI, to be honest, but I did have lots of conversations with people, and they spoke about their experience of kind of, vibe coding, things being chucked over the net. So it kind of feels to me that we're going back to kind of waterfall testing. And what I mean by that is we're testing, a big thing at the end of a build, and rather than breaking it down into chunks, which makes things more difficult, to kind of build and test as we go. So I'm sure there's going to be many learnings that we can take away and kind of feed back into the process of how to build and test as we go with these types of things. And yeah, just more thoughts on AI really, because I'm seeing a lot of stuff about speed, speed and AI, and I think we've got to start kind of questioning this quite a lot. I saw a really interesting post on speed and quality and using the DORA metrics, and I thought that it's really important to use data. So, like looking at things like change failure rates, uptime in production, many various other things, and using those as signals of what's going right and what's going wrong. So even though I've heard we don't need testing anymore, I think those teams that are using AI agents for their testing should monitor how things are going. And see whether things go downhill or uphill, that type of thing. But I think often what's missing is people like us, testers, quality engineers, however you want to call yourself, in investigation and research. And I think research is a really important one, understanding kind of what's going on and then feeding back into things. So I'm really excited about the future as a software testing expert and what I can do to maybe nudge things in the right direction. I am currently reading a really good book called Unmasked AI by Buloamwini, and they kind of talk about their experience of face recognition technology, and that as like a black woman, they used this face recognition software and it didn't recognize their face. I mean, I would feel so angry and frustrated. I mean, I've had similar experiences using ChatGPT where it's generated images of a man, and I've had to explicitly tell it to, generate an image of a woman to represent myself. So, it's really infuriating when software doesn't represent a broad spectrum of people. And I think rather than getting really angry about it, we can have conversations about it and understand biases and prejudices, and really think about how the people that are designing these systems, have they thought about that stuff. So that's another thing that I think about and question when they say, "Oh, AI is doing the testing." It's like, is it covering other scenarios like biases? So yeah, it's a really great book. I'm about halfway through. I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I really recommend it. I'll put a note in the comments about that. But yeah, it's just really interesting, this AI and testing thing. We really need people to be curious, to ask good questions. If an AI is doing some testing, is it covering functional and non-functional? Is it covering standards? Is it covering ethics? There's so many different things there. And one thing in the book that I found really interesting is they talked about hallucinations as a really clever marketing ploy, because basically hallucinations is software failing badly. And I've never really thought about it like that. I just thought, oh, it's just this, AI not giving the right output, but it's actually failing. So I thought that was really interesting thought. Um, but yeah, the conference was absolutely brilliant. I'm testing peers. I'm going to go next year, absolutely. So I'm really excited about that. Next week coming up for me is I'm continuing on this project and really excited about it. I've understood the product and the project really well, so I'm really hoping my testing can uncover any problems if there are any there. So yeah, that's really exciting. And also, I am attending a full day workshop by Tariq. The company's called Trendig, but you may know Agile Testing Days. So yeah, on Thursday he's doing a workshop on quality engineering and AI. It was like £100 for a whole day. I was like, yes, please, I will I will attend. And yeah, I'm really interested. I read some of Tariq's content before I bought the workshop day, and he talks about the importance of human experience. And I'm really one for kind of usability and thinking about how people interpret products, how they feel and think about them. So I think it's going to be a really interesting workshop. So yeah, I'm really, really, really excited about that. So yeah, that's kind of my summary of the week. This is kind of a different format, experimenting. Let me know what you think of it. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. What have you been up to this week? What have you learned? What are you doing next week? What are you going to learn? What are your thoughts in AI and testing? You can. I'm really open for comments on underneath this YouTube channel, or you can reach out. Yeah, if you've got to the end of this, I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting my content. I'm trying to do this every week now and get back on the bandwagon, so to speak. So if there's anything you want me to talk about, and perhaps if you'd be interested in joining me in a Sunday conversation, I'd really like to kind of host some people, get to know people, understand how they think about testing. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I look forward to doing one of these next week. So take care.